Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called $1 Off. Back in the early 2000s, I was a college student working at Blockbuster. At the time, it cost $3.70 to rent a movie, sometimes for just 2 nights, and the late fees were insane. We had this barcode on the side of the register we could scan to give $1 off a movie rental, but only when it helped us make an additional sale. The idea was to help push the overpriced candy and give $1 off a movie rental. So, Blockbuster started a fundraiser for St. Jude's. No incentive at all for employees to get donations. But of course, as it was for a good cause, I wanted to ask everyone. I got annoyed. People would spend a ton of money on late fees and more movie rentals and crap they didn't need. But out of the several hundred people I asked on a Saturday to donate, I got 2 people to donate $1. The next day, I realized I had to scan a piece of paper so the dollar donation would ring up. Hence the donation was technically an additional sale. So I started a new campaign of my own. Anyone who agreed to donate $1 to charity got $1 off their movie rental. For the next 3 weeks, until the charity partnership was over, with the customer's permission, I took $1 off the movie rental each time. Then I scanned the barcode for the $1 additional sale that went right to charity. The customers were happy they could pay the same price and have a good cause, and I got to help collect a few $1,000s for that cause, putting Blockbuster's own upselling methods to work against them. The next story is called Don't Stop. For the last 3 years, I have worked as a muralist for a mural company. It's hard work, but also rewarding, as I was beautifying public spaces. I had a good boss. He was a skilled painter who worked alongside us on big projects, in addition to providing us with plenty of financial incentives and encouragement. Unfortunately, he retired last year and gave full control of the company to his business partner. It immediately became a pain. The business partner controlled the administration side of the company. He was not a painter and didn't understand the work it took. He would overbook clients and overpromise on completion dates. He never offered us incentives and would only berate us for not getting jobs done quickly enough. We tried to tell him that the old boss has always encouraged us to take our time and deliver the best mural, as the company's reputation rested on the quality of our work. We also tried to explain that as artists we want to be proud of the work that we put out there. He brushed it off with, "You're paid to finish jobs, just get it done." This was incredibly demoralizing, and after 2 months of churning out rushed work, we were burnt out. One of our 4 muralists quit. The final straw came 3 months later. Our company won a huge bid to paint the side of a 5-story tall building using my design. I told the boss that it would take us 5 weeks to complete. However, a week before the project was due to start, he told us that we had 3 weeks. We protested, citing that we are down 1 muralist, safety issues, weather changes, and the complexity of the design. He, of course, told us that the contract had been signed and brushed off our concerns. He did, however, offer us financial incentives for overtime work this time, and knowing that there was nothing we could do, we accepted it. I simplified the design and we planned to stay late. The weather got bad, as predicted. There were a few days of rain where we barely got work done. We fell behind and told the boss that he had to get us an extension. Our client was nice enough to grant another week, but our boss was angry. He would show up at the job site regularly just to rush us. On the 3rd week, we were working when a light drizzle started. We were waiting in our cars, hoping that it would pass when the boss showed up. The moment he saw us, he started accusing us of being lazy. To quote, "This is why we are falling behind." One of my coworkers said through gritted teeth, "Can't you see it's raining?" But before we could explain why we couldn't paint in the rain, the boss yelled, "If you are scared of a little drizzle, you shouldn't be a muralist. Get back to work." My coworker shot me a look, and I knew immediately the game was on. The 3 of us got back on the scaffolding and began working. The boss smugly said, "See, that wasn't so hard," and drove off. We kept our smiles to ourselves. When the boss returned that afternoon, he was horrified. The rain had washed the wet paint down the building, leaving paint streaks dripping onto the rest of the mural. Basically, the whole mural, 3 weeks worth of work, was ruined. We noticed him staring slack-jawed, but we just kept painting. Then he called us down and cursed us with all sorts of profanity. When asked, "What the frick were you guys thinking?" my coworker replied, "Well, you were the one who told us to do it." My boss's face turned beet red. Then he asked, "Well, how the heck are we going to fix this?" My coworker simply replied, "You mean, how are you going to fix it? We've decided to all quit." And indeed, we had, while we were working in that rain. We packed our tools as the boss went from yelling to begging to yelling again. We just ignored him. That was the last day that we were on site. I felt so relieved the moment I got home. I got a call a week later from my old boss. I was ready to tell him that I won't come back to work, but it turned out that he just wanted to check in on me. He apologized for what happened. He also told me that my new boss lost the contract and had to fork out the money to repaint the whole wall blank again, so that another muralist can take over. The company is floundering now. The new boss can't find anyone to replace us, and he probably never will. He didn't realize that finding even one good muralist willing to work for a company is difficult, let alone a team. Most muralists are more than happy to self-employ. More importantly, not many people have the skills and patience, as well as physical abilities to create beautiful large-scale artworks from great heights. I give it another few months before the company completely shuts down. My coworkers and I still keep in touch. They got a few mural projects in their work from clients that they knew during that time with the company. I help out now and then, but I'm still pretty burned from the experience, so I think I'll look for other jobs for now. The third story is called A Life Lesson. Some numbers of years ago, I stopped for gas one evening, and there were a few teenagers kind of milling around out front, off to the side of the store, just sort of scooping out the customers. I guess I fit what they were looking for. Old enough to buy alcohol, but still young and covered in tattoos, so probably fun and willing to help them out. They walked up and said, "Hey, would you mind doing us a favor and getting us some drinks? You can keep the change." One kid handed me $40, because these teenagers were stupid and didn't know how much beer costs, so I didn't say anything, took the money and walked inside. Unfortunately for them, I have a strict no contributing to the delinquencies of minors policy. I knew they wanted me to grab them a 30 rack of Bud Light or something, but what they asked for was drinks and said keep the change. And they needed to learn a lesson about paying random gas station strangers to commit crimes before that got them in trouble with the law. So I took their $40, bought them a 6-pack of Diet Mountain Dew, pocketed my $34 change and headed back out with their drinks. They were pretty upset, and one said, "Well, what about our money?" I just looked him in the eye and calmly said, "What money?" and walked back to my car and left them standing there, looking like I smacked them with a hammer. The last story is called Follow the System. I drive a concrete truck. We deliver ready-mix concrete throughout a fairly large area. Keep in mind, concrete has a shelf life of 90 minutes once water mixes with the cement. This is very important on stacked jobs. Our company uses a routing and tracking system I will call the terrible system. If there is a good route or less than a good route, it chooses the worst route out of all possible routes. After working with it for a short time, this was noted. During training, new drivers are told to use it for the final part of the route only. The problem is, every time one doesn't follow a route, an alert is sent to management. Early in using Terrible System, managers found a way to turn off these alerts. A new manager starts. After a year, he brings up in meetings that drivers are not following Terrible System routing. Multiple times we tell him it gives us the worst and longest routes. He doesn't listen. After 6 months he states that drivers will be written up if we continue to not follow Terrible System routing. Drivers don't listen. A few days after this announcement, a fellow driver is written up. This is talked about. The next day, on my second load, I have a load to a location I had before. It is 15 miles east of the plant and then a 10 miles north leg. Following that route takes about 45 minutes or less. We had been going to this job site for 3 months by this time and knew that the Terrible System gave us a much longer route. I was the first truck of 4 and noted on the radio that we needed to follow the Terrible System route as directed. So off I go. The route it takes me is southeast, 13 miles. North on Interstate Highway, 35 miles. This included a chicken coop, a way station for non-truck drivers. Trucks are chronically overweight for interstates. East through a large metro area for 20 miles, followed by the last leg south of about 15 miles. It takes 125 minutes for me. The Terrible System gave me an estimated travel time of 140 minutes, so I did well. I arrive and I'm timed out. Everything was rejected, and that cost the company $1,000 for the concrete, not to mention the 20 gallons of fuel I burned. The second and third trucks are the same. The fourth truck was stopped at the chicken coop, and the company had a $500 fine. The customer is understandably angry. They call my manager, screaming. The manager asks to talk to me. I tell him we followed the terrible system routing as directed and he can check that easily. The next day, in the break room, a new sign is posted, stating that drivers are to use professional discretion in choosing the best/most expeditious route to jobs. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories in today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and would like to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. And if you want to support me even further, why don't you check out the channel membership? I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.